All right. Hello, everyone. Welcome to OpenEBS Community Sync-up meeting for the month of January. So, as usual, we always have this meeting on the last Thursdays of every month. But since we had to skip the meeting for the month of December, we had one in the second week of Jan as well. So these recordings are usually posted on the YouTube OpenEBS channel. So all of you should be able to access the recording. And this meeting is actually capped by 40 minutes only because this is happening from the free Zoom account. So yeah, welcome to everyone once again. Thanks for joining. So let's start with a quick round of introduction since there are lots of new faces today. So maybe we will go along the room here. Myself, Vishnu, I'm one of the maintainers of OpenEBS, um, and I also work as a engineering lead here. Over to Abhinandan.
Yeah, hi. I'm Abhinandan. I'm also one of the maintainers. Yeah, looking forward to chatting with you all.
I'll go next. Hi, folks. I'm Niladri. I work with Abhinandan and Vishnu and Tiago at DataCore, also one of the maintainers. Yeah. Thanks.
Right, since you mentioned my name, I'm Tiago. I'm also one of the maintainers of OpenEBS. Thank you.
I'll go. Hi, I'm John. I work with Simon over at Microsoft. I am going to be looking at enabling TLS between the components of my store. Just happy to be here. Thanks.
Yeah. Hi, I'm Simon. I work with John at Microsoft, working on Azure Container Storage.
I'm Etienne. I work at Canonical. We're building Canonical Kubernetes.
Hey, I'm Mohammed Hussein, working on Army Kalut. We are based on Iran, and we are creating cloud services based on leading edge technologies and using OpenEBS projects as our local EV usages.
Okay, awesome. Jenkins group. Okay, there are a couple of folks. Yeah.
Hi, can you see me? Yeah,
Hey.
I'm Andreas. I'm a DevOps engineer working in front for teams. This is my first time in this meeting. I'm happy to be here.
Divakar, do you want to give your intro?
Yeah, hi everyone. So I'm Divakar. I've been part of the OpenEBS team, one of the contributors there for last 2.5 years, and contributing to most of the areas, including the local PV engines that we have under the OpenEBS umbrella.
Okay, thank you. Ali Reza. Okay, all right. So let me give a quick update of on the release front. So like first of all, welcome to all the folks who have joined this call. Thanks for making it to this time, to this meeting. So a quick update on the releases. Last week we made a release. We made a patch release for the OpenEBS replicated engine, which is known as Maya Store. So this release was mainly 2.7.3. It had a lot of stability fixes and also uh, some important fixes related to the eviction of the control plane pods, which makes the pods get evicted faster in the case of node failures and get rescheduled on the other remaining nodes in the Kubernetes cluster. So similarly, we also made an umbrella OpenEBS release yesterday, which includes this Maya Store version 2.7.3. So the umbrella OpenEBS release is 4.1.3. And now we are almost on the verge of making the next minor release of OpenEBS 4.2. So this should happen anytime next week is the plan. So this will include uh, replicated version 2.8, and then we will also include the other local PV engine releases as well, versions as well. So in case if you guys are not aware of this, we maintain a release roadmap now, which is posted on the OpenEBS GitHub project. Let me quickly show that how to access it. I will share my screen and then I will show that. Just give me a second. Okay. One second. It says like I need to restart my Firefox for doing this. Abhinandan, can you share your screen and open the OpenEBS roadmap project if you had already done that before?
Sure. One sec.
Yeah. This is a new laptop. That's the reason I will have to quit Firefox and then restart it again.
Oh, I also need to join back. Just give me a second.
GitHub resource of type. It's a GitHub resource of project type, and you can go to the 4.2 release maybe. Abhinandan, just click on that.
Yeah.
Yeah. So we try to segregate all the tickets or issues based on the individual engines or data engines. So we have, as you are all aware, that we have four engines: host path, LVM, ZFS, which are the three local PVs, and then we have Maya Store, which is the replicated. And on top of that, we also have uh, local PV raw file, which is considered as experimental currently because it is not yet a let's say like a first class citizen of the OpenEBS. So I believe some of you guys have some of you folks have expressed interest in becoming contributors and also maintainers to the raw file, which will allow it to become a first class citizen of OpenEBS at some point. So you can see like when we group these issues by the milestone, you have host path and then you have the release number tagged against it, the version numbers. So we have we are going to release 4.2 version of host path as a part of the umbrella 4.2 release, and then LVM 1.7, ZFS 2.7, and Maestro 2.8. So these are the current backlogs being tracked against each of these releases. So the final umbrella release, along with all these individual engine releases, should be happening by next week. That's the target that we have in mind at the moment. So going forward, we plan to make this process more contributor friendly and also more community friendly. So that's the reason why we came up with this dashboard that should allow enable everyone to weigh in with their thoughts. So, for example, we have just started the planning for the 4.3 release, be which will be targeted sometime around April of this year. So if you go to the 4.3, you can see like there are this will include the next version of LVM and Maya Store, ZFS and all, which we have still not done the scoping. So it's the right time for our users, for our community to actually like suggest which are the items that they would like to see in this list, which will be targeted for this release, for the next release. Yeah, and anyone would like to add here? I would just like to take a pause. Okay, so yeah, Abhinandan, can you just share the link for this project on the chat so that it will be available for all? I think we should also make a Slack announcement for this. But yeah.
Yep, I'm done. Is it visible, everyone?
Yeah, I think you need to remove the views though. That's specifically the 4.2. At least for posting on the Slack, just or if we put it on the README.
All
I
right,
don't know if we've done that already.
right.
Yeah. All right. So I will just these were the things that we wanted to give as an update on the release front. Any questions here? If not, we will go around the table. Okay, seems like no more questions on this, but feel free to suggest or add to this roadmap. Thank you. Should we go around the table then? I think that will be good. So the
Yep.
one of the agenda was we were looking for contributors to the raw file local PV who can actually take this project to the next level, to this sub project to the next level. So it has a bit of history. Raw file was started by one of the contributors, and that contributor was not able to uh, proceed with his work because of his other com- commitments and all. So he has kind of said that this project he will not be able to contribute any further. So, and we also don't have any at the moment. We are also short on staff to maintain this project, since it's also in an experimental phase, which means it's not yet a first class citizen of OpenEBS. One of the main reasons for this is there is no proper CI associated with this project, and probably there are also not many end-to-end test cases and all. So that's the reason why we would like to call it as experimental or beta. So with the help of external contributions like you folks, we hope to bring this project back to life, and also starting to doing it as a part of our regular OpenABS releases. So um, may I ask who are all the folks who are interested in becoming contributors for the raw file?
Yes, I believe Canonical uses a fork of raw file local PV. I'm not familiar with all the details. My colleague that's more familiar is going to join shortly, but there might be interest from our side to contribute to it.
Okay, awesome. Is your friend
Yeah,
Adam?
literally.
Yes, there he
Okay.
is.
Okay.
Yeah, this is Andreas. I think I'll be quite glad to join in this journey.
Awesome. Okay. Muhammad uh, Hussein, I think you use LVM, right? Is that right?
Yes. First, we have decided to use raw file local PV as our local PV provisioner, but when I see that project is a bit inactive, we have switched to local LVM, and I have contributed to that project too. You can see my contribution, I think.
Yeah. Awesome. Okay. So uh, just tr- just trying to brainstorm here, like how do we take this forward, right? So like thanks for expressing interest first of all, and um, so Tiago, do you have any suggestions on what are the next steps here?
Well, I guess first of all we need to at least get the repo in shape, as in get the CI tests running. So from what I've seen on this repo, looks like it used to run on Travis, but I think probably that got disabled quite a long time ago, and it was never converted to GitHub Actions, which was what we were trying to pursue with the previous maintainer, but he never uh, got around to doing that. So that probably would be the first point to start. But also would be good to have like maybe create a list of the individuals which would be interested in contributing. Not as a like a requirement or as a rule that you must be on the list, but just it would be good to at least see how many people would be interested in kickstarting this project, and then maybe set up um, some cadence for a meeting where we get together and discuss, what tasks do we need to do? Is there any red flag with the project in terms of security, for example? Since this code hasn't been touched for a long time, I imagine it's probably using some very outdated dependencies, etc. And then once the basic is done, I guess we'd look at the current feature list and any missing functionality. Because I remember that the previous maintainer, on one of the calls we did have, he mentioned he had some updates, new features that he worked on his company's fork, because he had a fork, private fork, and he mentioned he would be publishing those features which we've been waiting on, but he hasn't done it. So there's probably some things missing here, either features or bug fixes. But yeah.
Yeah, that's, I think, sounds like a good starting point. Um, so Etienne, you mentioned that Canonical is maintaining a fork, right, of raw files. So how updated is that project, your internal fork, and are there changes which can be contributed back upstream from that fork?
So Adam, step in if I say anything inaccurate here, but from what I understand, we haven't made changes to the actual functionalities, but we do use Rockcraft for the OCI images, for building the OCI images, which is a canonical technology. So in terms of contributing back that part, I'm not sure if there's interest in that. I'm not sure if it's useful.
I think we tried. Similar to has been discussed. I raised a pull request pretty early on, but it didn't get any traction, so I think it ended up getting closed. But yeah, as Etienne is saying, it's an alternative to building with Docker. But instead, most of the packages, when it's built, come from the Canonical's Ubuntu archive. So it's really just a supply chain. The fact that we know the image came from Ubuntu archive depths. So that's really the only additions to the project.
Okay, thank you.
I'd love to see them integrated into it though. If that's something the project would like. It's just an alternative way to build it.
Sure.
As we're trying to kickstart the project again, I guess we all together will decide. So if it sounds like it does sound like something useful, so I don't see why not.
We have got a question from Simon in the chat.
Yeah, I was just kind of generally curious what users are seeing as sort of the sweet spot for raw file over just using LVM. Just trying to understand that better.
Right. Anyone wants to answer this?
So just a question on that, Simon. You mean LVM, but LVM would still with a file with a loopback device, and then LVM on top of it?
I see. So basically, you would use the raw file when you only have a file system and you don't have any disks.
Well, at least that's the advantage of how I see it, is like a host path, but with a file-backed block device. So you get, so you don't, I think the main issue with the current dynamic host provisioner is that if you don't enable quotas, you'll just write to the volume, even though you created it with a certain size. It doesn't matter, keep writing to it, right? Quotas does help somewhat, but it's a little bit fidgety, and you have to enable it. Whereas with raw file, you just create a file, put a loopback on it, and then Bob's your uncle.
Yeah, I see. Yeah, yeah. I mean, sort of I guess a slightly more complex version of trying to work in that environment is if you have a host path, just creating a file with as much capacity in the host path you want to create, and pass that to LVM as a block device, and then you can get all the quota and things like that. But that's a lot more complexity. So
Yeah, I was just want to add that I think it's a replacement for the host path provisioner. Host path provisioner currently is not a CSI based provisioner. Raw file is CSI based, with which and also with the raw file and the extend files we get other CSI features, right? Like the resize and stuff like that. So that's one plus point that I think it's comparable to the current host path provisioner that we will get, even snapshots and other features, right? Yeah.
yeah, okay, yeah. Thanks for that discussion.
There's one other thing that I remember, which is in the case of host path, the file system is still the underlying file system, host file system. So if you want to get the usage and all, you can't really use commands like df and all, because you'll always get the underlying file system's usage. So in the case of raw file, I believe every raw file will act as its own file system, or you will be creating a file system on top of every raw file if in case you choose to do that from the application. So I think that's another benefit where they will be able to track the monitoring, especially based on the capacity metrics on the raw file independently.
So another related question I had for the raw file is, so with the preference of everyone interested in contributing would be to carry on using the current Python implementation, or would there be any preference for example, porting it to Golang, which seems to be one of the most common languages that we have on the local engines.
I would prefer to move to Golang. We have Q pillar there, so we have a better structure for the project, and the project is likely will be the same as other project that we have in OpenEBS, I think. So the contribution will be more easier, you know. I think that would be better.
Does anyone else have an opinion? Maybe Adam or?
I think from canonical standpoint, we're comfortable with it either being in Python or in Go. To us, it really doesn't make any difference. Our team is a set of developers that are comfortable in both.
Okay. Thank you.
Thank you. There was also this thought, right, Tiago, that we used to discuss earlier, that we would like to combine the host path and the raw file into a single local PV provisioner, which will give the benefit of either a file system file like the host path or a raw file. So that could also be like one way forward. If we start this, or if we decide to rewrite the raw file in Golang, probably that could be like a base for having a CSI based host path implementation as well.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's a good
So
one. Yeah.
Are you saying that you're recommending that the current host path provisioner, the logic, the core logic of it, also gets embedded in this project so that the provisioners would support either?
Something of that kind, yes.
Okay.
Yes, and also the dynamic host path that we have today, right? That is a non-CSI based. That uses the external provisioner one, which is kind of old.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But that you're considering the same features of that dynamic host path provisioner be embedded, and that you could use things like storage parameters on the storage class or something
Yes.
to determine which path it takes. That's clever.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah. Also, it mean that we only have one driver to kind of build upon, rather than because they're quite similar anyway, even though yes, they're different, but yeah.
A quick check on the time. We have only 6 more minutes. I think we should set up follow-up meetings for the raw file specifically, so that we can pursue these discussions further. How do we
Should we
interact?
create oh no, we can't, because it belongs to the CNCF, right? I was wondering if we could create a subgroup on the Slack raw file, but I don't think we have permissions probably.
Okay, not sure, but we could do it on the Google Talk, Google Meet, if everybody is available for that. Or we could just start with emails in the beginning, I guess.
Yeah.
Yeah. Do you have all your email addresses so that we can set up a group and then start discussing this further? If it's not too much, can you guys? Okay, I see Adam and Etienne had already posted their email addresses. That's great. Awesome. I think we have all the email addresses. Yeah, thanks everyone. If this meeting ends, I think we should still be able to get access to these email addresses, right? Or we'll have to go to the recording and then get them.
I've copied them now. So.
Yeah, I don't believe we'll have access. Yeah, let's copy that. Yeah.
Okay. So I think we can probably move to Simon and John for the remaining 4 minutes. Um, sorry, Simon, John. I think you had less time to talk about. Yeah.
I don't think we have a lot to talk about, to be honest. John, I don't know if you want to talk a little bit about the control plane TLS.
Yeah, just that I had been working on our product enabling TLS in the control plane, and just hoping to spend some time on getting those changes upstream. It's really my plan. Just a matter of getting the time to do that. So, but I'll be prioritizing that a bit more in the coming weeks. That's really all I have to add at this point.
That's great. Thanks, John. I think that will be wonderful. Yeah. So one of the ways to go about this is we can either raise a OEP request. We can share the format. There are already certain OEP requests, OpenEBS enhancement proposal requests today. So likewise, we could have one for this support as well, for the TLS support as well. That could be like one way to go about.
Okay, so first step, we should do the OEP.
That's right. Yeah.
Okay.
I guess it depends on how, the breadth of the changes. For example, if it's something quite simple, then typically we don't need an OEP, but if it's a big change that changes how the components connect together, then it probably will be worth it. So simple things like bug fixes, etc., we tend not to use OEPs. Also, OEPs are still quite new, so we're still getting used to it as well ourselves. But we are trying to make use of them now for big changes like encryption. You'll see we added an encryption OEP recently.
Yeah, I mean, although the changes aren't too much, it wouldn't be a bad idea to do an OEP because there are some considerations with upgrades we probably need to highlight with, you don't want to just, swap over to TLS because other components still, like, for example, in the IO engine daemon set, it's going to do a rolling upgrade. So you don't want half on TLS and the other still on TLS.
Okay.
Yeah, the OEP is also a good place for having those kinds of discussions. Yeah.
Yeah, I think we can just probably share one example OEP here. Abhinandan, Tiago, can you guys share one sample OEP? Actually, my laptop is really slow.
Yeah, sure. I'll share the encryption one.
Okay, we have only 1 more minute remaining.
Oh, looks like there's some issue with GitHub. Like,
yeah, it's slow, right? I thought it's just my laptop.
Yeah, I can't.
Yeah, it's not opening. Yep.
Yeah, the GitHub status looks really bad.
All right. Okay, just in time.
Yeah, don't worry, we can find it.
Okay. Yeah, just in case, right? It's there on the OpenEBS repo.
Yeah, it's one of the pull requests there in
one
OpenEBS.
of the pull
OpenEBS.
requests.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Okay.
I think it's opening, but
Yeah.
it's not.
Vishnu, less than a minute, we can have some closing notes.
Okay, I think less than a minute. So um we will follow up with an email to all the raw file enthusiasts here, and then we can have a group, and we can take things forward from there. Um, to Simon and John, we will reach out to you as well on the TLS work.
Sounds good. Thank you.
Yeah,
Good,
thanks
good.
everyone.
Thank you, really.
Thanks, everyone.
Thanks everyone. Bye.
Thank
Thanks,
you.
everyone.
Thank you.